Everyone. Just let me know whether my screen is visible and voice is clearly audible to you or not. Okay, thank you. So we'll just wait for a couple of more minutes and then we will start our today's discussion. Okay, so good morning to all. From the last few lectures, from the last few sessions, we are discussing unit number 6, that is sequential circuits. And in unit number 6, we have started unit number 6 with the difference between asynchronous and synchronous sequential circuits. We have seen the asynchronous counter as well. In that, we have seen up counter, down counter, and mod counter. Then we have started our discussion regarding the working of shift registers. So we have seen what are the shift registers and the types of shift registers also. So there are basically 4 types of shift registers depending on how you are collecting your output and how you are giving the input to your register. So if you are giving your input is serially and you are taking it also serially, then it is serial in, serial out. Similarly, serial in, parallel out is there, then parallel in, serial out, and last one is parallel in, parallel out. So in earlier lectures, we have already seen first 3, SISO, SIPO, PISO. So in today's discussion, parallel out. Okay. And one final topic will be remaining, that is nothing but application of shift register as a ring counter. So we will start discussion regarding ring counter in today's lecture itself. So let's get started. I'm straightly moving towards our discussion of today, that is parallel in and parallel out PIP shift register. Okay, so this is basically a circuit diagram or logic diagram of 4-bit parallel in, parallel out shift register. So you can observe here total 4 flip-flops are there. All are D flip-flops. Okay. All 4 are D flip-flops. Flip-flop A, flip-flop B, flip-flop C, and flip-flop D. And clocks are taken as common. You can observe all clocks are taken as common. And one single clock terminal is drawn here. So basically, you are applying this clock simultaneously to all the flip-flops, which makes your circuit as synchronous circuit. So what is the difference between asynchronous circuit and synchronous circuit? If you are giving clock signals simultaneously to all the flip-flops, then that particular circuit will be synchronous circuit. And if you are giving the clock signal of one flip-flop and then the output of that flip-flop is given to the clock signal of next flip-flop, then that will be called as asynchronous circuit. Okay, so example of asynchronous circuit we have already seen in the counters. Asynchronous counter or ripple counters. These are the example of asynchronous circuit. In that you can observe the output of first flip-flop was given as the clock signal to the next. Alright. So now since we have established for the shift register that for n bit shift register, how many flip-flops should be there? The number of flip-flops should be n. So since here it is 4-bit parallel in, parallel out shift register, so that means 4 flip-flops will be there. Now observe the connection. So the inputs are given in the parallel configuration here. So this is the input given. So basically A, B, C, D are the data input. You can observe A is connected to the D input of flip-flop, whereas B is connected to the, or basically B is nothing but input to flip-flop B. Similarly, C is the input to flip-flop C and D is the input to flip-flop D. Okay. Again, the output of flip-flop A, that is Q, is nothing but it's taken as QA. The output of flip-flop B is taken as QB. And similarly, the output of C flip-flop is taken as QC and the output of flip-flop D is taken as QD. And when you collect this QA, QB, QC, QD simultaneously, this will become your 4-bit parallel data output. So you are giving input parallelly using A, B, C, D data lines, and you are collecting your output parallelly across the outputs of all flip-flops, that is QA, QB, QC, and QD. So this is regarding the circuit description of this parallel in, parallel out shift register. The working is actually very simple. We already know, you already understand the truth table of D flip-flop. So whatever is the value of D, the output Q will be the same. If the value of D is 0, then output Q will be 0. If the value of D is 1, then output Q will be 1. Simple basic operation of your D flip-flop. Now what happens in that? Suppose let's assume that ABCD is nothing but input. So I am giving one sequence of 4-bit sequence or 4-bit number as 010. Okay, I am applying this sequence 101 to the 4-bit parallel in, parallel out shift register, that is PIPO shift register. So basically this is my input A, B, C, D. Now I have assigned them the value. So what happens, this A is nothing but a input to first flip-flop. This 0 is nothing but input to second flip-flop. C is nothing but again input to third flip-flop, and D is nothing but to fourth flip-flop. Okay. So as soon as one clock pulse, that is one single clock pulse is required, as soon as I am giving single clock pulse, so that means each and every flip-flop, that is all 4 flip-flops, will be applied by this clock, or this flip-flop will be activated by this clock. Okay, that means depending on the value of input, now the individual flip-flop will change its state. Now you can observe flip-flop A, input of flip-flop A is 1, input of flip-flop B is 0, flip-flop C is 1, and again input of flip-flop D is 0. Now depending on these input values, the output of each flip-flop will vary on the application of clock pulse, single clock pulse, because we know that this clock is nothing but applied simultaneously. So now what will be the value of output? So QA, since just observe flip-flop A, the input equals to 1, so QA will be 1. For flip-flop B, the input is D equals to 0, so QB will be 0. Similarly, for flip-flop C, the input D is 1, so again QC will be 1. And flip-flop D is nothing but the input is 0, QD will be again 0. And when you collect this, all the QA, QB, QC and QD parallelly, then you can actually get the input sequence, the sequence which you have given input. Okay, so this is very a simple shift register, that you are just giving the inputs to your ABCD data lines, and you are collecting your same output across QA, QB, QC, and QD. Okay, so this is 4-bit parallel data input, and from here you can collect 4-bit parallel data output. This is pretty much simple. So few points have been noted. We will go through them. In 4-bit parallel in, parallel out shift register, the data bits are entered into the register in parallel form, and also data is taken out of the register in parallel form. So immediately following simultaneous entry of all data bits appear on the parallel output. Okay, just after one clock pulse, we are getting the output data bit. Okay, we are able to get 4-bit parallel data output just after the application of 1 o'clock signal. So the data is applied to the D input terminals of all flip-flops, and when clock pulse is applied to D input, when the clock pulse is applied, the D inputs are shifted into the Q output. So this is very simple operation. Whatever is the value of that D input, now the output will change accordingly. If D is 1, then Q corresponding output will be 1. And if D is 0, the corresponding output will be 0. The register now stores the data. Once you have applied the clock, what will happen? The value of QA, QB, QC, QD will be nothing but the inputs which you have applied. So basically, it is storing your data. The stored data is available instantaneously for shifting out in parallel form. Okay. So this is regarding the parallel in and parallel out shift register. So it is pretty much simple. There is nothing hard in this. So if you are having any query regarding this slide, then you can ask me. Otherwise, we will proceed our discussion with the next point, that is the ring counter. Okay, I will just wait here for a few minutes. You can go through this slide and let me know whether you understood it or not. Okay, so I think it is clear to you. Now we shall move ahead. So the next topic is shift register counters. And this is last topic of your syllabus as well. Okay, so already we have seen the counter circuit, and in that particular definition we have stated that counters are nothing but these are the circuit which is used to count the clock pulses. Okay, and whichever counter circuits we have seen earlier, those were asynchronous counter, but now here we are utilizing the counters, or we are designing the counters using shift register. Okay, and we also know that shift register are nothing but synchronous circuit, so these counters will be also synchronous. We will see, you will get to know what I mean by synchronous counters. Synchronous nothing but whatever or whichever the flip-flop we are using in this design, so the clock signal is applied simultaneously to all the flip-flops. This is nothing but synchronous. So one of the application of shift register is that they can be arranged to form several types of counters. So this is nothing but one of the application of shift register. That is, shift register can be also used as a counter. Then shift register counters are obtained from serial in, serial out shift register. So basically we are using here which type of shift register? Serial in, serial out, that is SISO. That means input will come serially through one terminal, and again at the output you have to collect the sequence of input serially again. So basically we are using shift serial in and serial out shift register in case of these shift register counters. But one change you have to make, that you have to provide a feedback. Now this is very, very important. And this is the difference between SISO shift register and ring counter. Okay. So what change we are making here? Only one simple change we are making, that you have to provide a feedback from the output of last flip-flop to the input of first flip-flop. Okay. So if you remember the circuit diagram or logic diagram of serial in, serial out shift register, then in that we have seen the output of first flip-flop is given the input of second. Then output of second flip-flop is given as the input to third. Output of third is given as the input to the fourth. Okay, and finally we are collecting our output from the output of fourth flip-flop, whereas our input is nothing but input to the first flip-flop. So this was our serial in, serial out shift register. In that, what you have to do? Okay, I will just try to denote here that suppose 4 D flip-flops we have used actually in serial in, serial out shift register. So I'm just drawing 4. Okay, so D flip-flop is nothing but, so obviously I'm not showing here the clock because clocks are already taken out common and it is applied simultaneously. So I will just denote this particular thing with the input output of flip-flop. So basically D flip-flop will have only one input terminal. So this D of the first flip-flop is nothing but input of our SISO shift register. So we are actually discussing SISO. Okay. So this was our input as well as this was our input to the first flip-flop. Now the output of first flip-flop is given as the input to second. Then the output of second is given as the input to third and so on. Okay. And finally, the output of shift register was nothing but output of final flip-flop. Okay. So this was basically logic diagram. In that, what you have to do, you have to simply give a feedback. Okay. Feedback you can read here by providing a feedback from output of last flip-flop. This is your output of last flip-flop to the input of first flip-flop. So you are basically providing a feedback from this output, that is output of last flip-flop, to the input of first flip-flop. Okay. So basically only one connection you are giving and that's it. This serial in, serial out register will be now known as ring counter. Okay. The working is pretty much similar to the serial in, serial out shift register. Only change is this red connection. Only giving the output of last flip-flop to the input of first, so that this basically completes one ring like structure, right? One loop is formed, so that's why it is called as ring counter. Okay, I hope you have understood it. Anyway, we will see it in great detail in upcoming slides. Okay, so these devices are called as counters because they exhibit the specified sequence of states. Okay, so here if you observe the in asynchronous counter, that was actually counting, right? In asynchronous counter it was actually counting in binary representation. Okay, the output was actually 0 1 2 3 up to whichever is your maximum count. But here these devices are called counter not because that. Okay, they are called counter because they specify a sequence of states. It is a specified sequence of state. That means one unique state will be there and these states will repeat itself after a period of time. Hence it is known as counter. So we will see which are these sequence of states and all. Okay, so just remember here the output of our counter will not be counting the clock pulses because we know it is synchronous. It is already synchronous device. So that means clock pulses are already simultaneously applied to your flip-flops. Okay, so these clock pulses will not be counted by your device. But on the other hand, what will this device do or this counter do? It will exhibit a specified sequence of states. We will see that after a while. Okay. So this is basically difference between asynchronous and synchronous. So the most widely used shift register counters are, there are two ring counters actually. So in your syllabus, they have just mentioned the application of shift register as a ring counter. So we will discuss two types of ring counters. So basically, first one is simple ring counter, or it is only called as a ring counter, and then second one is twisted ring counter. Okay, both are quite similar. Only one difference is there. Both are nothing but ring counter only. Just one difference, slight difference is there. So we will see that. The shift register counters are also known as synchronous counter. I have already told you. Why it is known as synchronous counter? Because shift register itself is a synchronous circuit, right? So it has to be an obvious statement that shift register counters, that is counters which you are designing using shift register, will be automatically counter. These are different from asynchronous or ripple counters. These synchronous counters are different than asynchronous. Synchronous is also known as ripple counter. Okay. So in which manner they are different? A common clock triggers all the flip-flops simultaneously rather than one at a time in succession as in ripple counter. So in ripple counter, what happens? The flip-flops are triggered one at a time. Okay. We have seen the working of asynchronous counter. So in that you can observe the ripple counter, each flip-flop was individually triggered, and only after the triggering of first flip-flop the second was activated, because this clock of the second was nothing but output of the first. But here it is different. In a synchronous counter, a common clock is given to all the flip-flops and it is applied simultaneously. Points regarding the synchronous and synchronous counter. Okay. Now we will move towards our main topic, that is ring counter. So basically under this discussion of application of shift register as ring counter, we will see two types of circuits. First is ring counter and second is twisted counter. Okay. So this is basically a circuit diagram or logic diagram of ring counter. If you observe it carefully, I have already told you that it will be similar to the serial in serial out shift register. Okay. But while discussing serial in serial out shift register, we have used positive edge trigger. Okay. Here it is negative edge trigger. That doesn't matter. Okay. You can use here positive edge trigger as well. What will be the difference? The difference will be only the output of flip-flop will change its state at the positive going edge. Right? If you are using negative edge trigger, that means the output of flip-flop will change at negative clock edge. This is your clock, right? So if you are using positive edge trigger, that means the output will change at this particular moment. And if you are using negative edge trigger, that means output will change, the output of flip-flop will change at this moment. Otherwise there is nothing different. Okay, so don't get confused. Here we have used negative edge trigger. You can use positive edge trigger here as well. Just note the difference, that your output will change at the positive edge and nothing will be different. It will be the same. So now if you observe, 4 flip-flops have been used. All are D flip-flops, and this arrangement, that is the output of first flip-flop is input to second. So the output of second is given as the input to third, and output of third is given as the input to fourth. And finally a feedback loop is provided, or a feedback path is provided, which is connecting the output of last flip-flop to the input of first flip-flop. Okay, so it is basically forming a ring. So that's why it is called as a ring counter. And again, the clock signals for each flip-flop have been taken, connected together, and one common clock is applied. That means these all flip-flop will be simultaneously triggered. Okay, that is nothing but it is synchronous circuit, but obvious. All right. Now a ring counter is a circular shift register. Why it is circular shift register? Because basically you are making this as a one complete closed loop, circular loop. That it is called as circular shift register. The ring counter is a basically circular shift register with only one flip-flop being set at one particular time. Okay, this is again important point that you have to remember that only one flip-flop being set at any particular time. That means output of any flip-flop out of the four, only one flip-flop will be having the value k equals to 1. Either it may be flip-flop 1 or flip-flop 2 or flip-flop 3 or flip-flop 4. Out of these four, only one flip-flop will have value q equals to 1. Other three will have q equals to 0. Okay, so at one sequence or at one time or after the application of one clock signal, basically out of these four, only one flip-flop will have q equals to 1 value. Okay, other all three flip-flops will have 0 values. Okay, all right. Again, this is shift register counter. The basic ring counter using D flip-flop is shown in the figure. So this is basically a circuit diagram or logic diagram of basic ring counter. The flip-flops are arranged in a normal shift register. That is, the output Q of each stage is connected to the D input of the next stage. You can observe the output Q of each stage is connected to the D input of next stage. But what is the change here? The Q output of last flip-flop is connected back to the D input of the first flip-flop. So this connection is now changed from SISO to SISO shift register to ring counter. This single connection will make our shift register SISO shift register as a ring counter. Okay. So it is connected in such a way that the array of flip-flop is arranged in ring. So that's why it is known as a ring counter. Now how it works actually. So initially one of these four flip-flops, so basically a first flip-flop, generally the first flip-flop will be preset to 1. Okay, so we have already seen what is the function of preset. So preset, so a flip-flop will have two more terminals, that is clear and preset. So I think I have we have discussed this. What is the function of clear? It will clear this particular flip-flop. And what is the function of preset? It will basically set this flip-flop to 1. It is output will be 1. And when you applied clear input, so basically clear will clear the output. That means the output will be 0. If preset is used, then the output will be 1. That is Q will be 1. And if clear is enabled, then the output will be 0. That is Q will be equals to 0. So initially, what you have to assume that the first flip-flop is preset to 1. Okay, so we will see the actual working here. So what we are assuming, that first flip-flop, that is Q flip-flop 1, is preset to 1. That means its output will be 1. The other outputs are nothing but 0, 0, 0. Okay, so our first sequence, our counter will start its sequence from 1, 0, 0, 0. Okay, now tell me, so I have already shown this output because we have assumed this output. Now what about the inputs? What about the inputs? So what will be the input of the first flip-flop? D1. So if you observe, this D1 is nothing but it is connected to Q4. So whatever is the value of Q4, it is nothing but the value of D1, right? So now I am writing the values of inputs. So this D1 will be 0 because Q4 is connected to this, Q4 is connected to D1. So that's why Q4 will be equals to D1. So Q4 is 0, that means D1 is also 0. Q1 is connected to D2, that means D2 will be 1. To D3, that means D3 will be 0. Q3 is connected to D4, that is D4 will be 0. Okay, so now these are the new inputs. Now what happens? When clock pulse is applied, then the output will change. The output of each flip-flop will change depending on the input. Okay, so the outputs of each flip-flop, output states of each flip-flop after this clock, I am denoting it by the green annotation. Okay, so now after the application of this clock, the output of first flip-flop, okay, so input is 0, so output will be 0 after the application of this clock pulse. For flip-flop B, the input is 1, so output will be 1. For flip-flop 3, input is 0, output will be 0. Similarly, for flip-flop 4, input is 0, so output is also 0. So initially, this was our sequence. After application of first clock pulse, what is happening? Our sequence has now become 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay. Then again, you have to find out what are the new inputs to all these three flip-flops. Okay, so I will just remember this. Now output is 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay, so I will erase this. So our current output or sequence was Q1 was 0, Q2 was 1, Q3 was 0, and Q4 was 0. Again, you have to write the new inputs. So what will be the new inputs? I'm denoting it as blue. So basically this D1, what will be the value of D1? D1 is nothing but Q4. So D1 will be now 0. Q1 is connected to D2, that means D2 will be 0. Q2 is connected to D3, now D3 will be 1. And Q3 is connected to D4, that means it is 0. So initially, that means earlier, our output sequence was 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Initially, it was 1, 0, 0, 0. This we have assumed, and it is after first clock pulse. Now, what will happen after second clock pulse? We will see. So as soon as, okay, again I have to write this. This was our sequence. I am writing input again. 0, 0, 1, 0. So after application of this clock again, the outputs of all flip-flops will change depending on the value of input. So now here the input for flip-flop 1 input is 0, so output will be 0. For flip-flop 2 input is 0, so again output will be 0. For flip-flop 3 input is 1, so output will be 1. For flip-flop 4 input is 0, so output will be 0. So initially our count was 1 0 0 0. After the application of first clock pulse, what happened? This 1 has been shifted right position. Now after second application of clock pulse, you can observe it is 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 0. Observe this 1 is basically shifting by 1 bit towards the right. After application of next clock pulse, what will happen? Our sequence will become 0 0 1. And again after this state, the first sequence will be repeated. Okay, this is how the ring counter works. So 4 different sequences are there. This is nothing but 4 different sequence. And these different states of the counter, what we have called the states of counter as, while discussing the asynchronous counter, we have defined one term, that is modulus of counter. Okay, so what was modulus of counter? So modulus of counter was nothing but the total number of states from which a counter is going through. So here in this, our counter is going through 4 different states, and after this fourth it will again come back to 100. Okay, so this particular ring counter, the 4-bit ring counter, will have how many modulus of count? Its mod is 4, because 4 different states are there, right? So it is also called as mod 4 synchronous counter or mod 4 ring counter. Now one point you should remember, that the mod of counter will be always equals to the number of flip-flops you have used in the ring counter. If there is only 3 flip-flops, then the mod of ring counter will be 3. Okay, in case of synchronous. In asynchronous, that was different. In asynchronous, what was the formula? In asynchronous, for n bit or n number of flip-flops, how many states were possible? 2 raised to power n in case of asynchronous. But for synchronous, here n number of flip-flops, if there are n number of flip-flops, then you are getting the mod also n only. For example, in asynchronous, when n was equals to 4, then the number of possible states were 16, 2 raised to power 4, that is 16. But on the other hand, this is also 4-bit ring counter. So for 4-bit ring counter, how many mods are there or how many states are there? Only 4. So you can clearly observe, when you are designing a synchronous counter, you are getting more counts. That is 16 counts you are getting. Whereas in synchronous counter, only 4 counts you are getting. Or you can also say like this: in order to get the 16 counts using synchronous counter, how many flip-flops you should require in your circuit? For 16 counts, 16 flip-flops you will require. So you can observe here, asynchronous will use only 4 flip-flop for 16 counts, but this synchronous counter will use 16 flip-flop for 16 counts. So it is clearly, you can observe that synchronous is quite uneconomical, because the work which is, or the circuit which can be realized using 4 flip-flop, you are realizing it with the 16. So it will be surely uneconomical. Okay. So again, this is very important slide. So in that, this is the state diagram. What it indicates, total 4 states are there. This was our initial state. So what happened after this stage? The next stage was 0, 1, 0, 0. After this stage, it was our next stage. It is when you are applying clock, what is happening? It is mentioned in the state diagram. After 0, 0, 1, 0, we will get 0, 0, 0, 1. So simply this 1 is shifting to the right. Now after this, there is no right here, right bit here. So basically it will shift towards the first bit. And after fourth clock pulse, it will again repeat this cycle. Okay, so this is the state diagram. This is the sequence table. So initially we have assumed that is after 0th clock pulse, that is initially. This was our sequence 1, 0, 0, 0. So you can observe this one is simply shifting by 1 bit. Okay, so this much only are the counts actually. After fourth 0, 4, so after the fourth application of clock signal, what is happening? This is again our sequence again becomes 1, 0, 0, 0, and it will again repeat itself. Okay. So this is basically a working of flip-flop. So this is very important. The mod of ring counter is nothing but number of flip-flops used in the counter. If 3 flip-flops have been used in your counter, then that will be the mod of flip-flop, or the mod of ring counter will be 3. If 4 flip-flops used, then the mod of ring counter will be 4. Okay. These are the timing diagram of 4-bit ring counter. So the outputs of all 4 flip-flops have been shown here, Q1, Q2, Q3, and what is happening after the application of clock pulses is mentioned here. So since our circuit was negative edge trigger, so you can apply whatever the changes will be happening across this output will happen after the application of negative edge only. Okay, so initially you can observe this before. So this is our first clock pulse, right? This is the first clock pulse. Before this, you can observe Q1 is 1, Q2 is 0, Q3 also 0. So this was our initial assumption. What happens after first clock pulse? You can observe this negative, first negative going edge. What is happening there? So Q1 now becomes 0, Q2 will be 1, Q3 will be 0, 0. After second clock pulse, what is happening? Again, it is 0, 0, 1, 0. The third clock pulse, what is happening? 0, 0, 0. But 4 will be 1. And this sequence repeating again, you can observe 1, 0, 0, and 0. So like this, it will continue. Okay. So these are the waveforms or the timing diagram of a ring counter. So this point is very important, and you should remember that n-bit ring counter can count only n states. So if your ring counter is 4-bit, then it will count only 4 states, whereas n-bit ripple counter is nothing but asynchronous counter. We have seen up counter, down counter, like that. So n-bit ripple counter will give you 2 raised to power n states. Okay, that is for if you are using 3-bit ring counter, then how many counts you will get? Only 3. But if you are using 3-bit ripple counter, then you will get 2 raised to power 3. That is, total number of states will be 8. So you can clearly state that ring counter is quite uneconomical compared to ripple counter. So this is basically a disadvantage of ring counter, or it's also called as synchronous counter over asynchronous counter or ripple counter. But it has the advantages as well. So first advantage is it requires no decoder. Why it requires no decoder? Because you can count this by simply noting which flip-flop is set. So there is no logic behind these states. So you will simply observe which flip-flop is set to 1, and that will be your count. Right? But in case of asynchronous, the decoder was needed because your count was nothing but binary equivalent. Right? So that's why here decoder is used. This is the first advantage of ring counter over ripple counter. Then second is, since this entire operation is in synchronous in nature, okay, and no gates, no external gates will be required. That means why no external gates are required? While discussing asynchronous counter in mod counters, what we have seen, generally in mod counters we use the external gates, right? NAND gate we have used in mod 6 and mod 10 counter. We have used NAND gate. Why we have used NAND gate? In order to count required states. It may possible that you required 5, 6, 7 intermediate state between 4 to 8. Okay. So that's why we have used the mod counter, so that you will be able to count the intermediate states. Right. So now here there is no problem of intermediate state. If you want to design 5-bit synchronous counter or 5-bit ring counter, then you have to simply, it is possible, you have to simply design it with 5 flip-flops. If you want 6-bit ring counter, then you have to simply use 6 flip-flops and so on. So no external gates have been used here. Okay. There we have used in mod asynchronous counter, we have used external gates like NAND gate. Why we have used that? Because you have to skip the states. But here no skipping is required. Okay. So that is another. And what it makes, since no external flip-flops is there or no external gates are there, so that's why it has the advantage of being very fast. Okay. So now what is the disadvantage of ring counter as compared to ripple counter? Again, I am telling you that ring counter is nothing but synchronous counter and ripple counter is nothing but asynchronous counter. So what is the advantage of ring counter? Let's discuss first disadvantage. What is the disadvantage of ring counter? It is uneconomical compared to ripple counter. So it is basically uneconomical. This is the disadvantage. And what are the advantages of ring counter? First advantage is it requires no decoder, and second is it is very fast. Why it is very fast? Because no external gates have been used here, because there is no skipping is required. Okay. So that's the complete discussion regarding the ring counter. One small topic is again remaining, that is a twisted ring counter is remaining. We will see it in the next lecture. Okay, so if you are having any problem in today's discussion, then you can ask me. You can write in the box, or you can unmute yourself. Otherwise, we will conclude our session here. So thank you very much.